Hello, this is Dawn McCoy with Flourish Leadership Group, where I help ignite your leadership to the next level. I wanted to just share briefly a few key opportunities and highlights for us as we jump into understanding all that we can about being dynamic leaders today. Often we assume that our leadership positions are earned or coveted, but really there's something that we step into. And I want to encourage each of us to step into our leadership roles, to think about what that means on an individual basis, case by case basis, and certainly something that may be unique to your situation. I know early on in my years, I had opportunities in leadership because it was a default. No one wanted to step up and be involved in a particular ministry in my community. And I stepped up and decided that I wanted to take that on. It was a tackle, certainly something to be able to say, wow, wrestling all these issues to bring them to bear. But when I was able to really put my hands around the opportunity of saying I was in charge of a program and making sure to help people in the community, it was something that I could learn to do. So being able to step into that, that's important. The other is by being able to be pulled in. Oftentimes we're encouraged or pulled into a leadership role. And so what does that mean when that happens? When we are brought into that position and someone says, okay, here you are, you're next up, it's your turn, and they pull you into a position and say, let's get started. And so you need to be able to jump into action and think about what that might look like. For example, a 30-day action plan, rolling out some key protocols or rules, making sure you understand what are the nuances, the lay of the land, etc. And so that's an important part about being pulled in, because you may not have the big picture. And so that's an aspect about that. The other is something that may be by legacy. Legacy, absolutely. We have people in our families or communities who actually have us segue into a leadership role, following in their footsteps. We've been mentored and cultured, nurtured, and so that is an opportunity for a legacy of leadership, someone being able to be that next generation of leadership. And so what does that mean for you when you think about how you could be a legacy leader? Being able to continue a tradition, continue someone's good name, continue the standards. What would be those values that are held by you in the position and then that were held by a predecessor? If you're following the footsteps of a supervisor, if you're following in the footsteps of a parent or a family member, think about what is it that they did in their leadership that was terrific and maybe not so good, that you would want to learn from, replicate, and or change. And so how we can think about these various ways that we lead by stepping in, being pulled, or being a legacy leader, what can we do to be able to approach those systematically and thinking about how we can be more effective in what we do and thinking strategically. So I wanted to just share with you briefly some key tenets. I actually have a couple of key pieces on my website that you might find of interest related to this topic about intergenerational leadership, legacy leadership, being able to step in and have a vision and a plan. I like to obviously make sure that this is a practitioner type of approach, so not just giving you something to go off and read, but giving you some actual tools. So feel free to jump onto my website and do comment below, and feel free to share with me what works for you, because I'm always interested to know what has worked for leaders, what has not worked, and what makes your job easier being a leader at whatever level you're in, at whatever capacity you've joined in or been recruited or sort of been turned over the reins. We have to think about how we can be effective in those positions, but knowing that we come from different angles and from different aspects of the leadership journey and making sure that we are prepared. And so will you continue to join me on this journey of trying to be better leaders in our community, better stewards of what we do, serving others, and being really focused in our mind about how we can carefully take out those pieces, put them back together, and then continue to be effective leaders. And lastly, being able to transition when we leave a leadership position to be able to lead those who come behind us. So again, this is Dawn McCoy with Flourish Leadership Group, where I help ignite your leadership to the next level. Thanks so much for tuning in. Be enlightened, be enriched, be empowered.